everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. We mm, we are super excited that Mercury retrograde is going to be over next week. Woohoo! At least we're earlier than we were for Ask the Sensei today. So thanks for your patience, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see everyone. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is one of our free monthly events. This is called the Get to Know VO series, where we, um, on the third Wednesday of each month, come together and explore an element or a part of the vast world of voiceover, what it is, what it takes, open up awareness to something you may not have known. And we're here to answer questions and get you thinking about things, get us thinking about things together. And um, at the dojo, we're not only about giving you answers, but exploring how we can create frameworks of how you can be thinking like a VO pro or understanding things, frameworks of how to look at things like a VO pro, which when you're beginning, you don't know what it is. And when you're on your journey, sometimes there's the next layer. So we talked about where we are, the VO Dojo. So today's Get to Know VO is called Voiceover Paths to Cash, All the Ways to 100K. So who saw 100K and said, "Ooh, I want to be there"? Yes. Yes. Okay. Um, so we're going to explore what all that entails. I just told you a little bit about me. So I've been the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo for the last, I think, going on 12 years or so. Um, in the meantime, I've been doing this for going on 30 years now. I've been very, very blessed in my long career to be the voice of long running campaigns. I've been one of the voices for Subaru for the last 14 years. I was the voice of Citibank for 7 years, um, and many, many other campaigns, and um, lots of other genres, etc. So mostly so part of me, part of me feels a little bit like I remember when I first moved to LA. I would tease. I actually had a list when I first moved to LA, like pack up boxes, become a movie star. Like, like, oh, part of me when I say like how this is unfolded is like, well, first of all, just become a movie star. First of all, just get a long running campaign, right? Um, so I don't mean to be blithe about that. But what I do want to open up is that long running campaigns are still out there. They're a little bit more like polar bears on the glacier, a little bit more, but that's okay. They're still out there. And there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of other ways that we can be exploring how to make a really solid living here at here in our voiceover. So there's lots of ways to do it. So for the last, I've made my living pretty much since the beginning. There was a couple of years. It was a couple of years, like becoming years. Like it took at least a year, 2 years to get up and running, to get to a major agency, and then booking started. And I created my own graphic design firm in the interim as some money was coming in, but not all the money was coming in. And I've definitely made my living from voiceover for most of that 30 years. And there's been many years that have been six-figure years and some that have been less than six figures. But, just in the course of human events and running a business, things go like that. But every time since early in my career, I always had the vision of this is what we're working for, and this is what is possible. I remember very distinctly, kind of like about my second year of being at a major LA agency or a good LA agency. um, writing on my Christmas card to the six-figure year ahead, and then it happened. And again, it's that easy. No, but the thing it is, and there's all the things that I did to make sure that that happened as well. So I just want to let you know that it is possible. In my house, I have lived it. And then for the last 12 years, I've also created a space called the VO Dojo that is devoted to you finding your way and you being supported to your sustained, successful voiceover career, going from I don't know to working pro, meeting you wherever you are, and with the intention of getting us all in this place where this is what we do all the time. Yeah. So put it in the chat. Where are you on this chart? On your path? Where are you on your path to 100K? Four figures. Excellent. Excellent. Four figures. Good, good, good. Three, four. Awesome. So some people have made some money, and zero is fine, and million. Okay, great, great, great. Good. Awesome. We've got anything is appreciated. Awesome. Good, good, good. Okay. So a lot of us are at the beginning, at the very beginning, right? Okay. So, good. It's great when you're on a journey or finding a path to know where you're starting and then get an idea of where you want to go, right? So that's fantastic. What does it take to make $100,000? It takes mindset, it takes awareness. You got to know what's going on. You got to have the mindset to even think if it's a possibility. You need to have the skill set. You need to have time to do it, and you need to give it time as well. It can happen. It can happen that you'll have, boom, booked a giant campaign. Woo! It can happen. And what we're always working towards is great. What happens when it stops happening? I've had that happen in my career too, because Citibank had the beginning of 7 years and then it had the end of 7 years, and it was very traumatic. I learned a lot about myself and a lot about myself as a voiceover artist, etc. It takes creating the opportunities and building relationships. Most this is a pearl of wisdom that Karen Gilfrey talks about all the time on this idea. But it is really about creating repeat customers and relationships, right? My journey to being a voice of Subaru for the last 14 years started from being a voice of Citibank, because I was a voice of Citibank for a long time, and then that agency, Fallon, the Citibank campaign completed, and here's another reality. Forrest Whitaker took over. Um, that was a little like, okay, Academy Award winning client, that's like, oh, good for Forrest. Um, let's see, where was I going with this? But the agency that created this fantastic Live Richly campaign also went through metamorphosis and transition, and a lot of those people went to Carmichael Lynch. So a lot of which had the Subaru account. So people that I knew from working with them at Fallon on the Citibank account became people that I also knew at this other agency, and we've just kept that relationship going. So that's really, really important. And then consistency, continuity, connection, and support. It's always just us, but we never do it alone. So those are things to keep in mind. So let's keep on going. So mindset. I just want to get a sense of where people are at with this, because sometimes it is the thing that keeps us from what we want. We say we want something, but there might be something that is keeping us. So what does $100,000, even saying $100,000, is it like, does it feel like to you like $1 million? What does that feel like to you? So let's shout out. So let's get a sense of, what does $100,000 feel like? And in Austin Powers times, it seems like a lot, right? In actual real time 2024, depending on where you live, $100,000 feels like a dollar, like that's what I need to make sure I have food. Like and yeah, but yeah, let's shout out, let's interact a little bit. What is it, what is that, what does the idea of $100,000 feel like to you? Shy people.
Honestly, a bit of a reach.
A bit of a reach.
Tish,
Uh-huh.
yeah. At this
Yeah.
point in time,
Yeah. And sometimes when we haven't been somewhere, it seems far away, right? Because we don't have any concept of it. Um, very like I feel like I'm feeling a little Kardashian. My son is just traveling around Europe this summer. He's never been. So I don't mean to sound like a douchebag, but metaphorically speaking, my son has grown up in Burbank in our little house that Voiceover has built. We have a sweet house. It's not a giant house. It's not a super fancy house. It's a lovely, sweet little house that I've raised my kids in. He's lived in Burbank his whole life, and he did an internship in Berlin this summer, and he's been out traveling Europe. He's in Switzerland with one of my favorite mentors, one of my most powerful mentors right now. But he had no idea what it was, right? Because when we haven't been there, we might not be able to see it or feel it, right? Yeah. Thank you, Udak. Who else? Let's get some other voices in the room, because I think also when we say it, then we can look at it and we can go like, oh yeah, no, that seems like a lot. Or we can also hear the energy underneath your voice about it.
I would say that if you attach 100,000 to a particular project, and of course in this particular form it would be voiceover, and you set it to be a long range goal, it should seem like a very attainable goal
Mhm.
because you're always working towards that end.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of where I want to set the tone of this, of like, well, there are people making $100,000. It takes about $100,000 to live in the world right now. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I be aiming for that? Let's see what could be possible. Yeah. Good. Anyone else want to share? Thank you.
It's so fascinating just because I've earned over this amount not doing, creative work. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I say the word attached to this voiceover, I feel anxious immediately. Like there's,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know how to get there. And so it almost seems like a pipe dream. Comma, that's kind of like the amount of money you need to survive in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's almost like a romantic idea for me attached to it. Oh, being able to earn it using um using my talents,
Yeah.
so it's interesting. It's loaded for me.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And that is, that's a beautiful and really important thing, because you know what it is to make $100,000. How do you do it doing it in this thing that you love? That
Yeah.
doesn't work like anything else. That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like if you get a job and then you negotiate a salary and you do the work, then you get the thing and you get the bonuses. It's not, it doesn't work like that. There's
Yeah.
no
It's
guaranteed payment
non-linear. It's
structures. There's no like, well, I did 400 auditions and now I get blah 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 blah. No. So that's a great thing to put out and to acknowledge. And then when you love something, you want it to go, you want it to grow. And when things are young, I don't know how long, we don't, I don't know where you are on your journey, but when things are super little babies, sometimes we don't birth our babies and go like, all right, little mofo, let's pay the mortgage, right? We don't, unless you're like the Olsen twins or something like that, right? But we don't put that pressure on our little babies. But sometimes when we might have expectations, and then when we love something, we want it to be all that we do, and da da da, and how does it work? Yeah. So that's beautiful, Johanna. It's fantastic. And again, do you see how the mindset is? You might not know how it is, you might not have experience of it, but what if it was possible? What if it was easy? What if you could? Why can't you?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you? Right? All right, yeah, good, good, good. And Deidre,
Yep.
what does it
Thank you.
look like and feel like to you?
I was gonna say, 100K, makes me very excited. It's like winning the lottery to me. So, that's the
Mhm.
mindset when I think about it. So,
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And when you start booking those first campaigns and residual checks start coming in, that's what it feels like. Like
yeah.
that, it's like woohoo! And then you get used to it. Like the walk to the mailbox is something you get used to, but it's something you can't understand because oh, that's another thing, Johannes and Adira. It's so lovely. Okay, hold on a second. Before I say this next thing, can you notice the difference in how the energy feels when Deirdre says, "Woo, that's like winning the lottery. Yeah, let's do it." To wow, empirically speaking, I know what that is, and um, I'm noticing that it's not working that way. So it seems a little bit like, am I crazy? Did I my mom told me to sell the cow and I keep on going for this beanstalk. Am I a little, but I'm interpolating here, or or I have no idea how that would be possible. That seems really incomprehensible, right? Can you feel the energy that's different? And once again, this isn't just woo woo, but everything we do at the dojo is mindset first, because if we create the space that it is possible and that we are aligned with the possibility, then we lay things out and do the work and find the way, right? Yeah. So that's excellent. That is excellent, excellent. Um, Good. So let's get a little empirical here. There's lots of ways, and we'll explore them. We'll explore them all in a second. There's so many ways. There's so many more ways to be making money in voiceover than there were when I started. So many more ways, like so many ways that we can take on direct, like we can create our own business with directly. That was different than how when I started 30 years ago. So we just have to keep on understanding that there's more possibilities and it's all shifted and we got to do it differently and it requires a lot, right? So, but let's break down what is $100,000. And if you're already at $100,000, I'm still at a place in my mindset like I've made mid to high six figures at points in my career. Have I made mid to high six figures all of my career? No. Um, have I always had my insurance for the last 30 years? Yes. And more, right? But but for me, having had reached those milestones, the $1 million is still a little like, okay, I can say it, I can feel it, but what is that really? So, but let's keep on focused on 100K. Um, so $100,000 a year is $8,033 a month. So when you break it down, that seems doable, right? Like, oh, $8,000 a month? Hmm. Okay, well, let's see, how could we get $8,000 a month? Right? But if you keep it on a yearly, if you keep it on, so that's one way to, oh wait, so anyone feel ease about that? Does that make things seem a little bit more doable? Because basically what we just did was, and we're going to run a marathon, but we're going to divide it into 12 sections, right? So the first lamp post that you need to get to is $8,033, $333 in this time frame. By the first 30 days, that's the idea. In 30 days, we want to be making this. Yeah. Is that, oh, okay. Does your brain open to like, oh, okay, I could see how that could be possible. Okay. So there's lots and lots of ways that we can be building our voiceover businesses and exploring what's possible. Um, so we could, you know, be building and opening ourselves to the opportunity building our skill sets, building our relationships so that we have access to opportunities that can be getting one job that is $100,000 a year. Like I said, they're not as many as it's not as easy to come by as it used to be, right? But in the realm of even union, so union and non-union, union is where you get all the residuals. We'll talk about that in a second. But it's not unusual it's not every day, but it's not unusual that you might have a campaign that would pay 50,000, a non-union buyout campaign that would pay 50,000, right? That's not unheard of. It's not every single day, but it's not unheard of. So you just get 2 of those, boom, done. Got there, right? Or you can go down to how do you book 10 $10,000 jobs or $1,100 jobs? Like, what does that mean, right? It all adds up, and you can all be doing it, right? One of our nth degree members, Danny, one of our nth degree members just made her first 5-figure campaign. Yeah. So she's on her way. She's on her way to being, a quarter of the way to her 100K this year. Right. So it happens. It happens every day. And why wouldn't it? Right? It's a little luck of the draw or spinning the wheel. Okay. This all makes sense? Does this help you break it down too? So like I said, not to be glib, but I don't know if everyone knows Elle Woods and Legally Blonde, but the question is like, you got into Harvard, and she says, what? Like it's hard? It is hard. This is hard, right? Creating a voiceover, building your skills and building your skills and building your business and keeping diligently on the job and doing everything you need to do all of that now in this context, in this world. It is hard. It's not easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. So how can we be of the mindset, be of the action set to be breaking things down? So what if it was easy? Or even if you don't believe it, like, this is hard, it's impossible, it seems like a pipe dream, I'm crazy, what am I, stupid? What if you just put a little note beside your microphone, besides your monitor that said, what if it was easy? What if it was easy? Yeah? Okay. Good. Let's keep on going. One of the first things is to open your awareness. I think a lot of times we hear like, oh, it's this genre and this genre, and I want to do this and I want to do this. So many people come in saying, I want to do anime. It is my love. I think it is, and anime is one of the art forms that is serving humanity right now and expressing what it is to be human right now. It's a powerful and worldwide phenomena. It is fantastic. The actual doing of it pays dick. The actual doing of anime pays very, very little because it's mostly a realm in this country of dubbing, and dubbing rates are some of the lowest in the business. Does that mean you don't do what you love? No. And then you also think like, well, except if you become part of that zeitgeist, if you create a character or voice a character that is part of this thing that everybody loves and everyone believes in, then there are opportunities where you can also make money and get invited to travel around the world, etc. So there's other paths. So we don't just say, okay, this pays dick, I'm not going to do it. We say, I love this. What are the opportunities, right? So we need to open our awareness. So let's open our awareness. I think some of you might have seen this before. This is something else that you can put sort of in your visual dashboard of opening to possibilities. This is what we call it the Dojo, paths to cash. Opening awareness. There's a first layer of opening your awareness, which is just understanding that all of these ways are ways that we all can be making money, right? Some of our voices are going to lend itself, and some of ours are going to lend itself to different things. We all don't have to do all of these things. We don't have to do all of these things at once. But in the course of human events, creating a sustained, successful voiceover career, we can explore which one of these we do want to make money in. And diversifying your portfolio is more important than ever in voiceover than it ever was. The more opportunities that we have in different genres, the more possibilities that we'll have revenue streams from them. And one of the things that I wanted to explore today is I think we can see this, and then, and this is a good way to approach it as you are in the beginning stages and you're exploring. Like, you should look at this like Deidre, like, yeah, look at all these things that I can do. Having like a kid in kindergarten, I can go to the blocks, I can play in the sand yard, I can go to the kitchen, I can play dress up. Woo! Let's see what's possible. Let's explore what is possible, right? And then, as we start figuring out what we're about, which of these parties do I enjoy? Which of these parties, what am I bringing to each of these parties? Where am I gonna spend, where am I gonna set my, set my first energies? Where would be my low-hanging fruit? And I think it's also important when we want to kind of explore this today. How much do each of these things pay, and how do you make money at them? Right? So we'll explore this. So when you see this, first of all, and say things out loud, because I can't see the chat, but say things out loud. What's your experience of this? Did you know all these things existed? Is something surprising? I often ask this question when I put this up. If we had a party game, if we were at a party and this was a big like twister board, and I said, okay, everyone run to the place, the box, the colorful square that your heart takes you to first. Where would you go? So let's get some voices in the room. Like, what was your experience of taking this in? Anything surprising? And where would you go to first?
It would be narration for me, Tish.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing all the different options is very. It just boosts the excitement that there's so many areas and there's little
Yeah.
bits from each of them, and some I didn't even know about, like the voice of things, which you would think, yeah, someone had to do that, but
Right.
you
But
know,
we
so
don't.
yeah.
We take voiceover is so ubiquitous. We take it for granted. So then, yeah. Good. And if you notice, when you say narration, there's all of these things that are all sort of in the realm of narration. And in the dojo, like in our launch pad, this is we explore most of these, and we also include this little circle of promo into the circle of narration, because the heart of narration is telling the story, and promo is all about telling the story, and then that circles back into commercial. So yeah, Emily.
I've got some experience doing like show hosting on a live radio show years ago. And because I've got that experience, after narration, it would probably be like broadcasting or webcasting or commercial after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think podcasting has definitely become part of the realm of the diversification of voiceover. I always think of broadcast and DJing and sort of broadcast news as kind of cousins of voiceover. So you'll have mad skills that will apply. I call it the cousin of voiceover because it's kind of like when you were little and you went to your cousin's house for a sleepover, or while your parents went on vacation. It was family. You knew you were welcome. You felt comfortable, but the rules were a little bit different. So it's like the cousin of voiceover. So
Yeah, I would echo. It's nice to see it all spread out like that, just to see all the different paths and avenues, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
The bulk of the work that I've done over the course of the last 8 years, it's been maybe 2 times a year, and again, it's based on a relationship that I have, and it's been sleep casts, which
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, very
yeah,
specific. Mm-hmm.
for an app called Headspace.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Good, good, good. So you have a recurring client. You have a recurring client
yeah,
that is in one of these realms. And yeah, and actually we should probably make a note, Kelsey, to kind of add that sort of sleep meditation, and then on the other part of the gamut is ASMR stuff, which is its own niche unto itself. But I know
what is ASMR?
um, it's kind of an internet thing that is when it's about the sensory experience of hearing very quiet voices and very specific things, and things squishing and crinkling, and it does something to your uh autonomic system, it's a thing, it's a whole thing. You
Oh,
can look up it, and people who do it actually are like influencers and make a ton of money. It's a whole lifestyle.
wow.
But you can go on that continuum, right? If you go past the realm of sleep apps, that's another thing that you could use your voice in. It's a whole another thing and a whole another way you set up your business and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So let's keep on going. Because I think the path I've laid here. Okay, so with each of these things, and hopefully each of you has it open. So it's good to open your awareness of what does each of these paths pay, or how does it pay, right? How much does each path pay? How much time does each path take? How do you have access to the jobs? These are good questions to ask. How many auditions does it take to get a job? And that's not empirical. Right. And it takes exactly 43 auditions to get one job. No, it doesn't. But there's a lot of realms where if you're working, you might expect to do 100 auditions before you book a job or something like that. Just understanding. And then how long does it usually take to get consistent six figures? So the thing that I'd like to do, at least for one sample, I'm gonna share a little bit of like what my last month was, and it was an exemplary month, and I'm still waiting for the checks to come, but I'll share this. But what I want to do is, before we leave, is create at least one path of how we can add up to 100,000 and what that would look like in terms of how do we structure our day, what are the opportunities, what is required. Okay, so we'll keep on going forward. But let's find some paths, okay? And this is also what I want you to do. I want you to take that. I want you to take like the things that you can do after we leave this call and have this be an exploration that you continue. Is how do you take that mindset thing, right? That opening up to the possibilities that um, one job for $100,000 or 1,000 jobs for $100. Have that down as like, well, okay, this will all add up. And then have this paths to cash, and then keep on figuring out how to make those go together. A fantastic tool, if you're not aware, if you're in the business, if you're already on the path, if you're already on your way, you're probably very aware of these fantastic resources. The GVAA Great Rate Guide is a fantastic resource where everything that is on, most of the things that are on that list have some way to start understanding how they pay and how much they pay. So when you have an opportunity come, you should know what you should be getting paid and how it works that you get paid. Does that make sense? Write this down, go explore it. There's it's a lot of non-union rates, and then it has a link to the SAG rates. If you're a union, or if you're not yet union, that's an okay place to be as well, because there's a lot of the business that is not union anymore, or has never been. So If you do use the GVAA rate guide, be sure to know, even if you have only 25 cents in your pocket, put a percentage into a donation, because the GVA provides this to the community as a resource for everyone, not part of their business officially. And Dave Tobuck is a friend of the dojo, and he works very hard on creating this and updating it. So be sure to support it in whatever way you can. And then Voiceover Resource Guide also has a lovely rate guide that kind of simplifies everything. If you go to SAG-AFTRA rate guides, they're a little bewildering, but the VORG breaks it down a little bit more clearly, and we'll take a look at that. I think that's the thing we're going to look at when we're creating our paths here. Par exemple, being a voice of Subaru, I do a lot of national tagging for Subaru. Last month was a really, really good month. I usually do 1 or 2 sessions a month, and they're usually super short because it's just tags. But those tags get put on a bunch of different spots. So a union national automotive campaign can look like this. This is an exemplary month. Every month this year has not been this, usually I do like two or three spots, right? But this month, coming into the end of the year, I did 12 national spots, which it's 588 per session, per spot, right? I did about half-hour session, and each spot that it's going to go in, I get a session fee. I did 20 regional spots. Those are also will add up. So just in session fees, this is money coming in, and hopefully it's okay to be this transparent. Like I said, this is an exemplary month. I'm dancing around, and I'm looking forward to these checks coming in just as anybody would be. And also, I've been doing this for 14 years. So this is what is possible, building relationships, etc. I don't take it for granted, and I am feeling blessed every day. Now, those national spots, I get calls from my dad, and he said, "Hey, I heard your tag on Colbert," and I go, "Yay, cha-ching," because on the tagging, that's like monthly tagging, right? I do it every month, so we've got one month of a cycle, right? But on those national spots, every day, every time it runs for that month, this is just saying, like, if it ran daily for 4 weeks, that would be 28 uses. And then I'd get an additional, whatever that number is, I can't see behind you, but the additional 2,400, and this is how it breaks down for national network things. So I think a lot of times we don't understand what the power of union money can be, and just to let you know. And so if that's multiplied by 12, if each of those runs, right, if each of those is running somewhere, maybe not on the Colbert Show or something. So just to give you a real life example of what that could be. And then you see how you can get to $100,000, right? I just need to, if there's, if this were the case every month, or it was, and then this also, what happens with union spots is, if you have something that's not just running for a month, but it's a 13-week usage cycle on a union spot, and so every 13 weeks you'll get another session fee, and then every couple of years you can renegotiate what the terms are. So there's lots of ways that this keeps on going and flowing. And why, if you are not yet union, there are things that are great possibilities to tap into the possibilities of this that do remain. As I said, this is not as common as it was, but it is the realm of you can explore how do you get to this point, yeah. And then there's lots and lots of ways if you are not yet union and don't want to become union. There's lots of ways that you can build your career successfully as well. This also pays into pension and health. So in addition to this, 20% goes into my pension and health. So I have extraordinary health coverage through SAG. Not that you can't get your own, there's still pros and cons of where you're at in the business in terms of the units, a different discussion, but there are very nice things. And also when I retire, I have like a regular person watch fob kind of pension because I have had the mindset of like, what? I'm not making $100,000 this year. What the hell? And then what do I need to do? Right. Not that I have, like I said, there's ups and downs. Everybody has ups and downs. People who have, are the voice of all the promos for everything can, with one change of a staff at a network, it can all go away. So we build to this, we open a possibility of it, and we know that it can go away in a heartbeat, anytime, any place. One of my friends, one of our team actually, last year did 48 spots for the Biden campaign, $50,000, then was replaced. Then another friend of the dojo, Will, also got some Biden campaign stuff. He's waiting to see if it's going to translate to Kamala. Maybe his voice is not the voice for the Kamala, right? So, okay, so just reality stuff.
I have a question now that everybody's, focused on the presidential campaign and voiceover opportunities. If we wanted to audition for doing any of Camilla's campaign, who would be the best person for us to contact?
Well, that is going back to, hold on a second, let me just go back to our pals. So that is a whole little ecosystem unto itself, political. A lot of it goes through agencies. So having a good agent that can connect you with those. You can also and then there's also ad agencies that specialize in political advertising. So building a relationship and figuring out who those people are, and then understanding, having a political demo, understanding the art form, the little, of this microcosm, because there's an art form to it. It's very specific. So if you're interested, it's a realm that you can develop your skills in. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Actually, Kat got hers because she's been on a roster for many years with a company that happened to get that campaign. So she didn't even audition for it. They called her off their roster. But she had been on it for many years. So yeah, lots of different ways that it can work. So let's explore. Let's create a hypothetical. Johannes, I'm going to use you as an example, but I'm going to ask you the same, Uduak. So Johannes, you said that you have a realm on here that is a form of narration that is making you have a recurring job and a relationship with the people who are the decision makers who hire you. And so you've got one of these realms in narration, which we'll put like sleep audio or meditation, right? Mm-hmm. So you have one layer of your path to $100,000 this year going, right? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to be our player today. So you have some income coming in too. I think you said 4 figures.
Yes, 4 figures.
Okay. So that is between 5 and 10,000.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, I think we have spoken before, and you also recently have opened up to realms that are possible to you because you have representation. You have representation right now, right?
Yes.
And who are you with?
DPN.
DPN. Okay. So you have access to a lot of this work is gatekeeper work, that there's people who it behooves you to have working relationships with, people who have working relationships with the people who are doing the work. Top level union campaigns, video games, top video games, right? AAA video games, higher levels of animation, feature animation, and series animation. A little bit working to picture sometimes. Definite TV and radio. Promo is someplace where having a gatekeeper, having someone who is helping you get access that is part of your team. Hold on, let me say this empowered in the empowered way, right? That is part of your team because they they open opportunities for you, right?
Right.
So those are things that you on your path now, that's different. I think you just started in January with them, right?
Yeah.
Is from our discussion. So where you are now and the opportunities that are coming to you now allow for a whole nother path to be open up to you. And it may be that you're booking some or you're hitting some, not yet, but that we'll talk about a little bit, the time as well. So, what realms have you been booking in?
So it's been promo mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Booked a few promo spots with them, and narration, documentary narration. I just did one a month ago for National Geographic, and that was really
Okay,
cool.
so at the highest levels, and if it's okay, I just shared what I got paid for Subaru. So if you're comfortable, is it okay to say what you got paid for doing a National Geographic documentary?
Yeah, sure. The fee, I think the fee was like $3,000. And
$3,000.
after, yeah, so that was the gross. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
net was I think just above two one
Yeah, well,
something.
that's a whole nother thing about running our business and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Although you do need to take it in this hypothetical $100,000. Let's get
Got
this.
it.
Okay,
So three.
so you've got $3,000. If you want, you can start as you start thinking about this. Think about like the fundraising thermometer. Like, okay, so Udoc has $3,000 in towards his 100,000. There's only 97,000 to go. Yay! Um, and then um, the positive things about that are, um, was it a buyout or will you get residuals or will you get renewals?
I have
Or
no
you're not sure?
idea.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So those are things to think about. And it was one episode of one documentary. It wasn't a series,
Yeah,
right?
just one episode.
Right. So if you think about, so then you start thinking about like, okay, so it was one episode of one documentary. Now, not if, right? When Iraq leverages this opportunity of of sharing that he's done this National Geographic documentary, and then the next producer comes along at the level of National Geographic because he's already done work at that level, and then goes, actually, we have this new series. It's going to be 20 episodes, right? Then it's $60,000 that will be coming in, and you're going to be working with those people every single week, so they're going to know you, love you, know you deliver, and keep on going. And then they know other people who make documentaries and work in this realm, and da da da. Do you see how this goes?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so we don't only look at opportunities that we have on their monetary value, right? That's $3,000, but it's a credit for National Geographic and people on National Geographic's decision-making team know you and have trusted you and hired you. That's invaluable. That's priceless to take the MasterCard thing, right? That's priceless. That's what then you leverage, right? It's that relationship, it's those relationships. And now 3,000 has the potential, it's not yet, but it has the potential in a way that it didn't before you had that job, and it didn't before January when you had access to that job.
Right.
Do you see how this goes? Do you see how we open our possibilities?
Yeah.
Okay, so and then you said promo. Okay, now holy buckets, talk about like that you have come in and broken into promo. Amazing, amazing. I've had people on their journey be told when they sign with major or hip pocketed with major agencies, when you say I want to do promo, they'll say terrific, go study intensely, invest in getting the highest education in what promo is and how it works, because we have so many people that can get the job done and have been doing it for so long. So you show us. And so that you are the voice that is needed and that your skills are available, that you're already booking, that's awesome. So in terms of how promo pays, so promo is interesting because a lot of promo work is still non-jurisdictional, right? And so it's not covered by the union per se, but it's not non-union. It's not, you don't get in trouble for doing it because it's non-jurisdictional. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. But the way that you make money in promo is one, having your skill set ready. This is all of it, and we'll talk about this in a second. But so you're already working at a level where people are getting you access to that work, and you are booking it. So you're building relationship with the people who make those split-second decisions, both the decision makers, the producers, and the engineers. Sometimes it's the engineers that are like, okay, this sounds good, right? Let's put this in. Now, in terms of payment, you may not get paid very much per spot, but then when you do a lot of them, or you do a promo spot and there's 4 or 5 or 6 different taglines on it, next Sunday, coming up next, on Tuesday, coming up next, all of those taglines are two separate spots, so you get paid a lot of money, right? Now, in terms of what do you need to be available? Doing a documentary, you just need to have time and be good, right? It's usually a certain amount of time, not that much time. You're done with the job. Here's $3,000. Promo, to make it go in promo, you need to be ready to be available. You need to have your space broadcast ready or have access instantly to a place, and it's really competitive, so you need to be absolutely available. My friend Jonathan Cook, amazing talent, amazing guy. We moved from Chicago. I was like older, but he was younger. I was like 28 when I moved from Chicago to LA. He was like 23 or something, and he hit it big. He's like on Hollywood Reporter covers with Don LaFontaine. Like, he hit it big. And at one point, he moved to Hawaii. He's like, okay, I can move to Hawaii. And it lasted for a little bit, but the time difference, and he'd be like, I'm going to the beach. Hold on, I gotta call, I gotta take a phone call. I'm back in the booth. I have to be back in the booth. So the time difference and the having to be available, it was like, he's like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? I'm not enjoying it. So there's a things called golden handcuffs, and if you have access to the golden handcuffs, take them, and then and then understand how it also impacts your life and how you need to do. So it may feel like, oh gosh, I've only made 4 figures so far, but the things that you already have going are like the things that are on that you've booked in are massive gold mines, and that you already are establishing that you have skill sets to be working at that competitive level, and you have people who are believing in you, and also people believe in when you come close to things too, right? Then like, oh, he's close. Okay, that's good. So let's say just from this, that your documentary leverages to another job with with National Geographic or someone that is referred to by the people that you know in National Geographic, and you get let's say a 20 episode series. So now you're at 64 or 65 or 63,000, right? Okay, so let's do the other 40,000. There's certain money that you've made from the promo. Maybe it ran a little bit. Like, did you make a couple $1,000s off of that, or
Yeah, it was altogether it would be 6, but different months. So yeah,
6,000?
yeah, and it hasn't all
Oh,
come in yet. So it's
yeah. So that's the other thing. Things keep on running. You keep on getting paid in this model where there's keep on getting paid. Um, yeah. Okay. So now we're at 69,000. So, what else are you interested in, or what else could get you that other 40,000?
um, well, I did some. I know it doesn't. Well, ADR, I did some as well.
Mm, yeah, it was
But
ADR. It was looping.
you know, it was. I don't really know the difference between the two, but on the spot it said ADR, so I'm assuming
Okay.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, ADR, like if you were if you were replacing a voice, what was the nature of the job?
So, that's a great question. So I think they were doing some like no, I don't know commercials, but it was just dubbing dubbing from it was a French show and doing the
Okay, yeah. So
English.
it was dubbing. It was dubbing. You're
Dubbing, okay.
transforming. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. So dubbing is different than looping, because looping is doing the background work, and looping is actually incredibly. It's doing background work, voiceover wise, but it's incredibly lucrative because you get a session fee, and then you get residuals from whenever that TV show runs forever. It's like you're
Right.
in the cast. So becoming part of a loop group is a very, very lucrative way to make a living, which is why it's very, very competitive and people won't tell you about it necessarily. They'll say, yes, there's looping. And that, but when you have opportunities, so that's another realm. And then dubbing, as I said, is lower on the end, 75 to $125 per hour with a 2 hour minimum, right? So that's 69,500, let's say,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So do you see how this works? So we'll choose one more thing, and then we'll move on, and we'll get wrapping up. I just want people to um, see
So
how this goes. Yeah.
um, video games. I know
Okay.
that's another
Video
interesting.
games. Excellent. Do you get a lot of video game opportunities from
No,
DPN?
nothing from DPN, but I've booked a couple from the VGM list, like the list of database for BIPOC talent. When people
Oh,
use
great,
my
great, great. Yeah.
VGM
So they
video
were
list, yeah.
so they were more indie video games. Like maybe you got paid like 250 an hour or 350 an hour.
One of them, yeah, 250 an
Mhm.
hour.
Yeah. Okay. And how many sessions did you do?
Just the one, but it was like a 4 hour session. So
Okay. So you got $1,000 for that.
yeah,
Okay. So now we're at 70,000, 75, or 7,000 or 70,500, right?
hmm
Yeah. Good. So video games are interesting because even triple A games only pay like $900 per session for 4 voices. So again, video games is something awesome. And if you are a recurring character and you're booking, you do, if you are a main character, a principal character, a playable character, then you might have a bunch of sessions. So you'll be getting paid $1,000 a session for a bunch of sessions to get all that work done. If you're, more of a utility player, you can get 3 voices in a 4 hour session. You get your $1,000, and then that's kind of it. There's a little bump at the union level. There's a little bump at the union level that you get 75 extra dollars for an additional session, and up to like 2,100 or something like that. Um, so, but video games in itself can be lucrative if you're doing that. If you have a job that you get a bunch of sessions, but how often do we do that? Maybe, right? Um, and video games does not pay residuals. there's a milestone for when a certain amount is sold that you get like another session fee or something like that. It's crazy. Also, just so everybody knows, no matter where you are, union, non-union, the video game world, the interactive contract is on strike right now. So the more nobody does any work without knowing that it's signed the waiver about AI, signed the SAG waiver that allows work to be done. Nobody, even if it's like, even if it's Archangel Gabriel comes down himself and says, would you like this opportunity? Even if you've never done it before and it sounds like the most golden opportunity, don't do it now, because it's going to impact everybody along the way. It's a really crucial strike around AI, and the more that nobody's making any video games unless they have signed is really important. So another preachy thing. I've got so many soapboxes here today. So let's say you get 4 more video game opportunities. So that's another $4,000. Maybe you get a couple sessions for each, so maybe that's $8,000. Do you see how this goes, guys? Do you see how this goes? Okay. I'm gonna keep on going. So Udak raised his hand, so we went and explored an idea of what happens when you are in his situation, which he did whatever journey he's been on that has created the opportunity that he now has representation at a top agency. Bravo, that's fantastic, because that's a stepping stone. That's part of the progression, getting yourself to that place that you're competitive, that you understand who you are and how you can fill a need of a major, when you are looking for that sort of support, and it serves both of you to be in there, right? So each of you may not have signed with DPN in January, so you might have a different way to do this. What I recommend each of you doing is take these tools, take the breakdown of how do I get to $100,000, take this map, go to the GVA rate guide, and start understanding and making notes for yourself about how does each of these things pay, right? Corporate narration, you can get paid $700 for doing a 4-minute narration. Do a lot of those. Right? There's a lot of audiobooks. You could make $100,000. You'd basically, let's say audiobooks gets paid per finished hour. That means however long it takes you to deliver the finished hour. So it could take 4 hours, it could take 3 hours, it could take 2 hours, it could take 1.5 hours to deliver that finished hour. You get paid a certain rate. I would say maybe when you're starting, take a slightly lower rate, but audiobooks is a lot of work. And so let's say you book a 15-hour book at $250 per finished hour. That'll be about $3,700. If you did 2 of those per month, you'd be well on your way to 100K. However, you also need to read those, you need to prep those books, you need to read those books, you need to deliver those books. Like, there's a lot of time that's involved in that. Right? It's not half hour for Subaru. It's weeks in real time doing that. So totally doable. I encourage you to listen to this replay, take these tools, and start exploring yourself. Play this like a board game of possibilities. Like, ooh, if I booked 16 explainer videos and 4 podcast intros, and do you see how I'm saying? What I do? Like, create paths, play around with different paths. What could it look like? And then keep on honing in. What are my skills? Where are my relationships? And then recognize that each job you book is potential for more jobs. And because you have a working relationship with someone who's already given you a job, and then you build on that. That all makes sense? Okay. I'm going to breeze through the rest of these things. Skill set. You have to have skill set to book the job. You know, sometimes you can just get it. If it doesn't, it's not rocket science, and it is an art form, and it is a business. So you do need to know what you're bringing to the party and hone your skills to be competitive, because we're building a sustained, successful voiceover career. So here's this Stephen Pommelhorst dude from the Olympics. He knew exactly what he was about, what his skill set was, and what he brought, and he came and he shined. He shined at the highest competitive level, and it impacted the whole thing, right? So always understand where you are in your skill set and keep on developing your skill set. Invest in your business. It takes time, money, focus, energy, passion. That doesn't stop ever. It takes all of those things all the time. It doesn't go away. And then ideally when you're booking things, then you have more money to invest and more time to invest, etc. But that doesn't go away. Give it time. Give it time. Give it time. This is a graphic from the survey that Nava and Cohen Gilfrey and Nava does. This is where there's actually another slide that should go with it, but who's making money, and then how long does it take to get to be that money? It's usually like 2 or 3 years. It's usually 2 or 3 years to get to a place where you're making that money. I told you my journey, right? My journey, I moved from Chicago. I had booked one job. I was like, that is what I want to do. And I moved to LA and I hit the ground running. And I spent, I don't know, good 12 months studying, learning, doing everything I could. I talked to a demo producer who did me the greatest favor of my career. She said, you're 98% ready, and I'm not going to make your demo because you need to be 130% ready. And I went back to the drawing board for another 6 months. No questions, no bitching, no nothing. I'm not ready at 98%. Let's go. Let's do it. So, you know, that was more like 18 months, 2 years before I even cracked it. And then when I cracked it, you know, then I started getting these opportunities like Udoc is, right? Then I started booking, you know, I got a regional campaign for a hospital in Kansas. And then that gave me what it was to work consistently and with continuity and create connection. And so I knew what that was, to work on a campaign and to feel that and to, you know, so this is how it works. But give it time, and all those other things that were in that other slide. This time, money, focus, energy, passion. You're building a business, you're always honing your skills. It's not easy, but it doesn't have to be hard. Okay, we are here to support you on this wherever you are. We are here to meet you and take you, you know, be a part of getting you where you want to be. If you are just on the beginning of your journey, or even you know, even if you are as far as you are, Udoc, but you're figuring like, what is it? What is not working, or what else could I be doing? Highly recommend our intro class. You should do voiceover launchpad and workouts. We have a class starting September 9th, and we also have Mystery to Mastery, our full training program starting up in September. And we also have our working pro level, the nth degree. So what I would recommend is signing up for a voiceover once-over, talking to me. We'll get to talk more one-on-one. We can explore a little bit more about, you know, let's play around with your path in the time that we have. But get on my calendar. We can talk more. Hopefully this has been valuable. What's your dojo O? Whenever we get together at the dojo, we say what you know, what's one thing that made you go oh, or oh, or oh, oh.
I'll do it. Take your time and time. How should I put this in words? But everything will work out in time. That's mostly what it is.
Take your
Yeah.
time. It takes time. Everything will work out in time. If you keep on the trail, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's patience, right? Yeah. Anyone else want to share something? Michael.
I liked your idea, the create a path, by looking at the larger chart and then the rate chart and like really figuring it out and creating a path for yourself. I really liked that tool. That was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can create one path and you can create another path. Just sliding doors. Ooh, if I move to Philadelphia, it could look like this. If I move to Botswana, it could look like this. If I move to, just keep on playing with it. Just play with the vision, play what could be, and then notice where else you can, where's your easiest path, where's your path of least resistance too. That's another way. Yeah. Alina, what's yours?
Well, I really like the guidance, the details you gave us on how to get involved in the political ad work. Clearly, there's going to be a lot of it.
Yeah, and then that's the spark of your imagination, your heart, like, ooh, I would like to do that. Um, and then you go like, ooh, what is that realm? How do I make money in it? Who do I need to know? What tools do I need to make money in it? What does it take, right? Yeah, good. Let's see, Emily, let's get your dojo. Oh,
I liked what you talked about with residuals, how that plays a big part with income because you always just forget about that. I think of like the one-time payment, and that would take forever to bring up 100 grand. But once you get residuals, especially if you're
right.
unionized, that's where the money comes in, right?
Yeah, that is how it works. And then don't underestimate that, the other thing that's implied here is don't set your rates low. Don't set your
Right.
rates at $100. It will take you 1,000 years to get to it, and it may not, right? And also, you could set your rates at $100 and do,
Mhm.
10 things every month for somebody, and that adds
Mhm.
up too. So don't diss it, but just
Mhm.
understand the power of it.
Just a
Um,
quick question, if I can quickly ask, if that's
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Just because I'm not based in the States and I'm based here in London, England, for the union over here is equity. I'm not yet with equity, but
Mhm.
can I still set my rates to SAG rates in the UK? Do you know how that would work?
Yeah, I think you'd have to I think anywhere that you are, set your rates the way that it supports all of us. It's going to support you and it's going to support all of us. In the beginning, even audiobooks, there's like the first few books is a little bit lower rate, which is kind of like, whoa, that's crazy.
Mm.
But I think it's just knowing what your market is, knowing what the rates in the UK are, and then also around the world, right? Internationally, different markets have different rates. So it's again just empowering yourself and going like, ooh, here's a path. I'm running a
So
business.
maybe
I
like
need to
a
know what my
hundred an
rate.
hour. To start with £100 an hour to start with, perhaps.
Well, it
Start.
depends
Yeah.
because again, you have to look at £100 for what? Because
Audiobooks
some
as an
things, so,
example. Yeah.
yeah, no, don't do an audiobook for £100.
Oh, you can be ripped off that
No,
way. Yeah.
it's not worth your time.
Okay.
It's not worth your time. It takes so much freaking time.
Emily, a good resource for you, a great resource for you would be Gravy for the Brain. It's a
Oh yeah, I
UK
know about
based
them. I do know
voiceover.
about them.
They
Yes, I'll
have a
have to
rate
sign up.
guide.
Thank
They
you.
have a
That's
rate guide,
helpful.
and I'll send it in the chat.
Yeah, that's a good
Thanks.
idea. Yeah, go find the resources in the market that you are in. Yeah.
Mhm.
And Idrak, I see your hand.
Yeah, my O is just remembering to take bite-sized pieces because
Yes,
100
break it
grand seems
down.
so much, but when you break it down, it's not so
Yeah.
overwhelming. So, yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. 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 Yeah. Okay, any of you other quiet ones? Hi, Rebecca. How are you? Good to see you.
Good
Any
to see
other
you too,
quiet
Tish.
ones? Quiet ones. Okay. All right, friends. Oh, Gary, did you have an oh?
Well, first of all, just a quick thank you, Tish. I've done
Yeah.
something with you several years ago, and I have a meeting
Mhm.
with you on Friday. And I just
Oh,
wanted to, I
fantastic.
want,
Good.
this is a good reminder for me to realize that I can have competitive talent, but without the tools that you're suggesting for all of us, I will remain stuck until the day that I die. Thank you.
Well, you could, or you could have something explode and it could happen. Chances are, I, our philosophy here at the dojo is that it's always just you. You've got to do the work. You've got to take these tools. You've got to do it. You've got to make time. You've got to know what you want. You've got to do it. And then you never do it alone. And the more that we do
That's
it
right.
together, that if everybody's here is working together, then anything that you're doing, your efforts are amplified. That's sort of the philosophy. So,
Well,
yeah. I
my
remember,
only regret, my only regret is that I didn't log on one of these several months ago. So thank you.
well, and then it goes back to Deidre's time. Trust that time is time, and you're here now, and you'll explore coming back again, and it'll be exactly the right time. Ask the Sensei is the first Wednesday of every month. That's free as the proverbial wind. And this Get to Know VO. So put these on your calendar.
So we have fight clubs coming up. Basically what Fight Club is basically we get actors who are professionals, so booking, repped, and demo into the dojo in front of casting directors and decision makers. And they basically have a little fun, friendly competition. And they're really great to watch. They're super educational, especially if you want to get in front of, you want to be in a specific genre. For example, we have tonight, actually, we have Brooke Chalmers with video games coming up.
He's a Genshin Impact director.
Yes, he's a Genshin Impact director. We also have Sean Gann, who is a director at Crunchyroll, coming up
Huge
next
anime
Tuesday.
director. Amazing.
Exactly. And then we also have Ned Lott coming up in September, who directed the Studio Ghibli dubs for Disney.
And Pixar and yeah, Ned is the bomb. If you're interested in animation, be there as a spectator. You can get a spectator seat. So
yeah, it's incredible what you can learn by just listening. And then we have video games with DB Cooper coming up. And then we have animation with Angela Mickey. So go check those out.
And we do commercials and narration and other things. We just kind of had a little conglomerate of the character-based stuff. So. All right, friends, I'm late to another meeting, but it is so worth it. Thank you all for being here. So I know some of you were quiet, but you were the ones who were here. 65 people signed up, and of course, we don't know what happens in the course of a day. So 65 people will be listening to the replay, but this is how you go on the path, by showing up, and then when you're here, put your voice in the room. That's the steps that you take. And so great job being here. Thank you all for spending this time, and yeah, look forward to getting to talk with you all on voiceover or once-overs. We'll see you soon. All right, thanks, Kelsey. Bye-bye.
Bye.